Thanks for joining us here on 90s Plus. I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi on this Tuesday morning, and it's a little bit smoky out there. Yeah, we do have some smoke from wildfires, mainly in Oregon and Idaho. That's some of that smoke seeping its way into our skies here along the Front Range. Good news is we should see some of that mix out later on this afternoon, and especially for our day tomorrow. We will also increase our rain chances for our day tomorrow, including the possibility for seeing some storms here in Denver. I think we stay dry here today, though. Here's a look outside and the view from Lookout Mountain. Again, it is a smoky and a hazy one that is due again to wildfire smoke from those fires up into Idaho and Oregon. I can tell you firsthand, I was just in Idaho this past weekend, and boy, those fires out there, they're no joke up there, and the smoke is way worse up there, as you might imagine, compared to here along the Front Range. Now, for us here today, it is warm and dry. Temperatures will be rising up to about 90 degrees for us here in Denver. We do have some elevated fire danger, especially as you get a little bit kind of further north. We will see those winds pick up a little bit this afternoon, and that will give us some limited fire danger. I don't think it's going to be an especially high fire danger day for us today, but something to watch for. And then for our day tomorrow, we do have some showers and thunderstorms around. First things first, though, this is what a lot of you are noticing today. We've been getting a lot of those emails about it. That smoke will be with us through much of the day today, and it will continue into our morning tomorrow. That said, our next system should kind of gradually fizzle out some of that wildfire smoke. Now, the other thing to watch for today, winds pick up gradually this afternoon. So today, probably this morning, you're not noticing a whole lot of wind, I would imagine, at this point. But by this afternoon, we'll see some of those gusts up into the 20 to maybe even 25 mile an hour range. So again, getting into the noticeable territory, and then we'll shift those winds to far eastern Colorado for our morning tomorrow. But by tomorrow, again, those winds should back on off. Temperatures, it was a cool, crisp start for us here in Denver. I went out for a morning jog, and it felt delightful out there. We had a low of 53 degrees for us here in Denver. It has warmed up into the mid-70s already for us, though. Mountains 50s and 60s at this hour, and a lot of 70s and 80s. How about that in Springfield, though? Near 90 degrees at 11 a.m. here on this September the 13th. Starting to see some of those showers and thunderstorms spin on in from our south and west of the San Juans. A cloudy and even in some cases rainy start for us out there. That is all thanks to the remnants of what was 6 days ago a hurricane, Hurricane K, which at one point was a Category 2 storm, now spinning its leftovers, spinning its way over southern Utah, northern Arizona. Some parts of Arizona have seen as much as 4+ inches worth of rainfall from the system, seeing some flash flooding into parts of Utah, Arizona, and Nevada as a result of that system. That said, we're going to get kind of grazed by K's remnants tomorrow, and that will lead to that potential for some rainfall. But I'm not looking at any sort of wild rainfall totals or widespread issues from flash flooding for our day tomorrow. Now, as far as our day today is concerned, temperatures will rise on up to about 89, 90 degrees for us here in Denver. Hey, at least it's not nearly as hot as it was last week, but we do see those clouds pick on up as we head through the afternoon. Winds will be steady. Again, as we get through the afternoon, mid to late afternoon, you will notice those winds pick on up as we head through the day. Probably not noticing a lot of wind right now. Again, as we get through the day, those winds do pick on up. Temperatures will rise on up to about 90 for most of us on the eastern plains. Quite a few of us should top 90 degrees for us later on this afternoon. Mountains 60s and 70s for the most part, but notice Telluride and Durango stuck in the 50s and 60s. That is due to the cloud cover from the remnants of Hurricane K, and that will lead to temperatures on the cooler side out in that direction. Now, for us here in Denver, as I mentioned, we could get up to 90 degrees for us today. If we do, that would be our 65th day at 90 or above so far this year. That is already number 3 all time for us here in Denver. We probably won't get to the number 2 spot, though. That is 73 days at 90 or above. That was in 2012. Number 1 spot, 75 in 2020. Won't get to either of those here this year, fortunately. Tomorrow, much cooler for us here in Denver. That's thanks to some of that cloud cover from the next system spinning its way on into our region. We could see some peaks of sunshine in the morning hours, but I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of sun for us tomorrow. Again, that'll keep those temperatures down around a high of 80 degrees, which, by the way, that is where we should be for this time of year. Average high for today is 81. So tomorrow, just a bit more seasonable. It's just been a very warm stretch for us, and we could see some of that rain spread its way into the Denver area tomorrow afternoon. I think the better chance will be a little later in the day along the Front Range. Also, better chances as you head south and west of the city. So the Palmer Divide, the foothills, and certainly as you get west of the Continental Divide, that's where you have the better chance at seeing snow showers and storms tomorrow afternoon. Here in Denver, I would call it about a 50-50 shot that we see a shower or storm, and chances will be between about 4 and 10 p.m. at seeing some of that rainfall here in town. And then by tomorrow night, we'll start to clear things on up a little bit, but we could still see a leftover shower or storm for us on your Thursday. Highs for your day tomorrow, right around 80 degrees for us here in Denver. A few spots where we get a bit of morning sunshine. Could get on up into the mid-80s, but I think most of us on the cooler side of things, so a lot of 40s and 50s into the mountains and 70s and 80s along the Front Range. There's a look at those remnants. Once that clears on out, though, we've got a dry and hot end to our week. One thing to keep in mind with tomorrow's flood threat as well is that rain threat is that we could see some flooding for us in some of the burn scars. Probably a good idea to avoid the burn scars for us here for your Wednesday. Camera Peak, East Troublesome, Calwood, Grizzly Creek, all looking at an elevated threat at some flash flooding. That will be due again to some slow moving downpours capable of putting down some of these tropical downpours, and that could lead to that flash flood threat up that way. 7-day forecast, well, temperatures in the meantime will be right around 80 degrees for us between now and Thursday. So, or I should say for your Wednesday and your Thursday, highs right around 80 both days. Scattered showers and storms for us on Thursday afternoon once again, and then much more isolated storms for your Friday and the weekend ahead. It's going to be hot and dry with temperatures topping out in the mid to upper 80s both days this weekend. We gradually kind of cool on down as we get into the early part of next week, but we got a chance at getting up to 90 degrees yet again this upcoming weekend, and it's getting pretty late in the season for us to be talking about temperatures at 90 or above. Our average last 90-degree day for us here in Denver is in the first week of September. We've already eclipsed that, but we'll probably get there again here maybe as we get into this upcoming weekend, which again, getting pretty late in the season for us to be talking about temperatures this warm. Then again, we do cool on down for tomorrow and for your Thursday as well. Meteorologist Lauren Robinson will have an update coming up for you at 9 News at noon. Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabins in at 4 and 5, and then Meteorologist Danielle Grant in at 6, 9, and 10 tonight on the 9 News Family Networks. Thanks so much for joining us here on 9 News Plus. Have a great rest of your Tuesday.